Hi there, and welcome to 15 Minutes of Consulting Best Practices. I'm David A. Fields, and if you're wondering, where's Maria Isabel? She always does this part. You're right, Maria Isabel always does this part, and she is on some well-deserved vacation. So just me today. Quick reminder that your comments are how you ask questions. So just type in comments, but they do take a moment or two to show up. Um, and sometimes we don't see your name. So just put your name with it if you don't mind. But the format is really straightforward. You ask questions and we answer them, or in this case, I answer them straight up. Now, are some questions that come in during the week via email. And Jaron, I know one came in because I saw it and I asked you to put it in there. So, what's in the bag? And good morning, Tony. And I'll take a look at your question in just a moment. Let's see. Joy says, you mentioned that building awareness of a problem is challenging. Yes, it's hard to create awareness of if people don't know what a problem exists. I'm curious if you've seen consultancy succeed by painting a picture of what's possible rather than focusing solely on problems, i.e. using aspirational marketing to help prospects imagine the potential that can solve their underlying issues through a mindset and knowledge shift. Is there any point in pursuing this aspirational approach as a first impression, followed by a conversation about pain points and aspirations? Okay, Joy, I love this question. Thank you for asking it. Thank you for sending this question in. This is something we run into all the time with consulting practices of all sizes. In most cases, aspirations and problems are just flip sides of the same coin. You're describing a gap between current state and ideal state. If something breaks, then a prospect might think of it as a problem. They might think, "Oh, my cookie making machine is broken." Right? That's a problem. I need to fix my cookie making machine. However, some prospects may have an aspirational outlook. They might think, I'm so tired of these things breaking. What I really want is a reliable, dependable manufacturing line. It's the same issue, but it's two very different outlooks. And as a consulting firm, you can message around problems. We fix broken cookie machines, or you could message around aspirations. We build rock solid, reliable cookie manufacturing. And by the way, the same thing applies to leadership coaching and culture and marketing and operations and every other kind of consulting. If there's a gap, the gap is either a problem or an aspiration. Okay, so which one should you use? You can go after either. Problems are higher urgency. It's much, much easier to sell against problems. It's much easier to win an engagement when a client perceives it as a problem. Aspirations, on the other hand, are often perceived as higher value and they're perceived as longer term projects. So you can often win longer, more lucrative projects when you're going against aspirations. So it depends a little bit on where you are. The vast majority of firms talk aspirationally, and I think that's just how a lot of us are built. We want to talk about reliable cookie manufacturing, not fixing machines. But the truth is, most small firms would probably do better if they focus on problems in their marketing and then aspirations during discovery. So to go back to your question, what about this idea of I market aspirationally and then focus in on pain points during discovery conversations, during a context discussion? I would say do the exact opposite. Focus on pain points because that gets people into conversation quickly. And then when you're in conversation, you can talk about the pain and then also talk about the aspiration, which is how you level up and win a larger project. So that's my long answer. I'm answering for me and Maria Isabel. If let me know if that helps. So type in the comments. And good morning, John and Carol and Tomas and David and Anika and Don. If any of you have a different opinion on that, type in your opinion also. That's just my view on it and our firm's view, which is to use pain points will get you into conversations faster. Okay. Jaron, I saw one come up here. So let me ask from Tony. Answer this. I brought in a subcontractor for a paid talk on technology with a client. Okay, great. It was well received, and I would be leading transformation, business process assessment, go-to-market alignment, while he'll likely build tech tools. Great. Should I keep him under my subcontractor agreement or ask the client to contract with him directly and just receive a referral retainer fee? We have a 1-year non-circumvention clause in place. They're reputable, but I haven't worked with, there's more, but I don't see more. That's all I see. Them in the past. So Tony, if there's more in there, let me know. Okay. This question about what do you keep them under your banner or not depends on whether the work falls under, if it's just implementation of what you do, you may want to keep them under your banner. If his work naturally falls under the scope of what your firm does, then keep them under your banner. And if your client would prefer it that way, keep them under your banner. If you're worried, if the work doesn't fit under your banner, it's not a natural fit with what your firm does, or if the client prefers it in another way, or if you think that he's creating risk for you, then you could take the referral fee. In this case, where you've already brought him in as a subcontractor and the client views it that way, I would probably keep it under my own banner if I were you. That's my initial reaction. But if there's more to that, definitely let me know. Joy says, very helpful. Thanks. Excellent. Suzanne, why not both? Start with pain and then demonstrate aspiration as a way to showcase your prior client successes. Oh, absolutely. You can speak to both. Sometimes it can get a little confusing. So if you want a really sharp communication, you'll stick with one, Suzanne. But when you're in conversation with a prospect, then you can speak to pain points and aspirations. You can say, we can absolutely solve this cookie machine problem. We're experts in cookie machines. And something to think about is, maybe tell me whether this is worth a discussion. Should we not just fix this cookie machine, but take a look at how we create a more robust, reliable cookie manufacturing process in general? Is that worth a conversation? Right. So now you've transitioned from the pain point, yes, we can help you, to the aspiration. That's what we would typically recommend. Tony, the client knows he's with another consultancy. That's fine. Ask the client if they have a particular preference. We're bouncing back and forth here, right? If they have if they have a prefer to contract separately, that's fine. A lot of times clients only want to deal with one, pay point and all of that. So I would make this about the client and what their preference is. And Suzanne, Preston T. Johnson, thanks so much. Super helpful. And Preston said, I use Copilot is included in MS license. Okay, there's something around prompts there. I'm not sure what question's being answered. Oh, which AI tools do you recommend for research, prospecting, markets, and sectors? And Preston, your answer looks great. Copilot, it is good. I've heard people talk about Perplexity being very reliable for that, and it's easy to check sources. Something else came up recently. It's interesting, Preston. A lot of folks don't like Copilot. They found it is the least robust of the big AI tools. But if it's working for you, definitely do that. And none of them are expensive, to be honest. We use a few tools. One we use is the team version of ChatGPT, and that's because you can, under that version, if you believe them and you trust them, your data is shielded. And that's really important for us, is to not let data go into the training model. So that's part of how we're thinking. Marco says trying deep research. Yeah, and again, I've heard mixed things about deep research, Marco, but all these are worth looking into, worth trying, and it depends a little bit also, again, around data protection. For us, data protection is really important. So if it is important to you, make sure you're really clear on the risks on any given AI engine. But Marco and Preston, thank you so much for posting your thoughts, and David also. Excellent. David Stowe says, with the major change in technology, is there a need to rethink from time to time your consultancy purpose? For example, moving from data analysis to coaching client teams on how to use data analysis to be more strategic. Yes, David. Not just with the major change from AI, but in general, rethinking your what your firm does. I would say annually, you should take a look and say, are we aligned with the market? Because your consulting practice is not about you; it's about them. It's about your clients, your prospects, your your contacts in general, and everything moves rapidly. Things change, and so AI is changing things, but other things are changing in the world also. And so once a year, absolutely take a look and say, are we aligned with the market needs? Are we touching hot buttons still? Is what we offer actually hitting an urgent need or not? Because perhaps because of AI or something else, needs have shifted. So yeah, I totally agree on that. And I'm seeing lots of chatter about AI tools, and that's excellent. I'm gonna let you guys all answer on this. This is excellent discussion, and keep posting your thoughts on whether it's Claude or Gemini or Copilot. There are a lot of things to try. Let me answer Terry's question. I'm trying to uncover some larger project opportunities, bigger offer, to complement what I do and take my firm to the next level. Do you have any suggestions on how folks have successfully uncovered these new, larger fee opportunities? Yes. So I'm going to give you two answers. One, we have somewhere. So Jaron, let's make sure that we post in the comments afterwards a link to an asset around questions that will uncover higher value problems. Because the right questions will help you get into the right conversations that will open up the door to bigger projects. The questions are only the front end, though. Your way to find bigger projects is listening. What do they have going on? What do your prospects have going on that you could help with? And asking them and then listening well will reveal those opportunities. And then perhaps not being afraid to say, hey, could we talk about that issue you have? I know you think about us for this smaller piece, but the stuff you're talking about is actually center of plate for us. This is kind of stuff we do all the time. And if you're open to it, I'd love to have a conversation about that. So Terry, let me know if that gets you in the right direction. We'll also post a link, if we can find it, to the asset that has 20 or 25 questions for uncovering higher value opportunities. And we have some great more points here about the AI tools. And again, if you have a different answer for Terry, post that also. It's been a really good conversation about AI, and for folks who've come in late, hopefully you'll be able to go in and see all the comments. And believe it or not, we just went through 15 minutes really quickly. So make sure you come back next Monday and the Monday after, either next week or the week after. Sometime soon, we're having a guest also. And it will be fun. So you'll see me and a guest up here. Before you go, though, make sure, Jaron, what do we have on queued up? Make sure you have this in your calendar so you remember to come back next week, and you don't have to find the code. It's davidafeels.com Monday Live. Just put that in your calendar, noon Eastern or 12:15 Eastern, and you'll come to see us every week. Make sure you're connected to me on LinkedIn, also to Maria Isabel. If you're not connected to Maria Isabel, I'm LinkedIn David A. Fields. And I do want to connect with you if we're not connected already. That way we put out at least, I think, something a few times a week. And that's it. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you have a fabulous week. We talked a little bit about this already. So remember, consulting is not about you. It's about them. It's about your clients and prospects. So give them value and give those folks kindness. And I will see you right back here next week. Take care, all.